Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction or read through for Boku no Hero Academia chapters 368, 369, and 370. Extremely excited to read as I always am. Clicking onto 368, I see, this Toru Hagakure, or Hagakure Toru, color cover that I remember when, like, months ago. So this is one of those things where I feel like it jumped outside of like the usual weekly My Hero circles where I remember the drama around this by people who like think drawings are real, I guess. I remember the drama surrounding this. Ooh, that was a weird noise that came from my throat. I remember this, and that's another thing. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it when it happened. Another thing I still wanted to talk about. So, of course, I feel like everybody has seen that Bakugo panel. People posted as reactions to stuff all the time of Bakugo quote-unquote dead. So yeah, I heard the drama where there's a bunch of people going, oh, Bakugo's dead, and my reaction to it was like, no, he's not. So again, months ago, during my hiatus to that, I had heard about the Bakugo stuff, and I didn't know that he had been revived. Or even now, I still don't know, like, he might be down for the count, like, he's getting his heart repaired, but he might not get back up and fight again, at least not for the rest of the series or whatever, or he could get back up and fight again. I don't know if he does or he doesn't. I haven't been spoiled, but I was spoiled on people thinking that he died, and my response was, as much as I, like, love Hero Academia, love Horikoshi, I'm like, no, he's not. They wouldn't kill off Bakugo, and, like, even if they did, it's not like that would be good writing either. It's one of those things where, like, a lot of people are so starved of deaths in shonen, because in many shonen deaths happen so rarely that they're like, more deaths equals better writing. But that really isn't true. I mean, I just got done doing a video for Magical Girl Racing Project. I think it's a good example. There are deaths that have really stuck with me, that have really been impactful, and deaths can be huge in that way. They can leave a huge emotional impact. They can push the story forward. They can push the characters forward. They can do so much to improve the story. But you can also have deaths that don't mean anything, or deaths where they're, again, Magical Girl Raising Project is the example that I'm using. There have been deaths that have been amazing and have stuck with me, and deaths where I'm like, they didn't really need to die. I don't think there's been any, like, terrible deaths or anything, but there have been plenty where I'm like, wow, they really didn't need to die. Fans of Orange Izuku can really know about the power of both good and bad deaths in a series. And I mean, I read other things where a lot of characters die, but if I look at something like Attack on Titan, I can't think of any deaths in Attack on Titan that really stuck with me, and I was like, whoa, that was amazing. And I also can't really think of any that I'm like, that's BS, that death sucked. I can't really think of any either way there. But yeah, I guess that's about it. I wanted to bring that up again, the Bakugo death stuff, where I'm like, if Bakugo had died, I don't really think that would make the story any better. Like I said at the beginning of last video, even, the whole, like, heart repairing stuff, to me, like, carries on the theme of the story of, like, you know, protecting the future. So there's a lot of important stuff there that I think is good. But also, something else I wanted to talk about. So we got Izuku confronting All For One. Is Shigaraki still in there? Shigaraki's body at the end of last chapter. And the thing is, if I were not behind, if I weren't basically like 30 chapters behind, I would think, oh, this is it. This is the end. But, like, we still have other things that we need to conclude. We still have Benjamin Button, All For One. We still have Dabi is still up. So there are still things to happen, things to go on, and I'm excited to see what can happen from here on out. It makes me more excited knowing that there's like dozens more chapters is like, it just makes it better for me. I'm like, oh wow, stuff must really happen. And, like, I feel like Hero Academia has this issue where there are just a ton of characters, just an absolute ton. And something else that made me think of this, sorry getting a little long on the intro here, is I saw something where somebody had posted like, oh, top 10 Hero Academia characters by screen time, something that I've done for Tower of God, something that I've seen done for One Piece, and like Uraraka's like way up there, like fourth or something, and everybody's like, what has she done? And I'm kind of like, yeah, Uraraka has one of my favorite panels in the entire series. One of my favorite panels in the series is like near the end of the Liberation War, where like she just got done pulling like mangled bodies pretty much out of rubble, and there's people dead all around. There's kids and people who have lost family and stuff, and just really, really dark stuff, like very dark for a shonen going on. And there's this one hero standing there like, I can't do this hero shit anymore. And we get this really great panel of Uraraka just looking at him with the blood on her face and like the sweat and rain, and it's just really good. That's like maybe my favorite panel in the entire series. But outside of like the Bakugo fight, it's like, yeah, she really hasn't been involved in very much. And I feel like her character development, she gets like bursts of it here and there, hasn't been that great. You know, Ida, people I think may have hated like some of my opinions when I was week to week reading the joint training arc, where I'm like, Ida hasn't done shit, and now you want me to care about him here and think that he's made this great progress here. Which, I mean, in hindsight, Ida was there for the stay-in stuff. Ida was there for the rescuing Bakugo stuff. Ida was there for a lot. So I was underrating him there. But at the same time, we have this issue where there's a ton of characters, and I feel like a lot of the characters have not lived up to their potential, and have not really done enough or had enough development. So that's an issue that I'm hoping here at the end we could maybe see some characters get some moments. Because if the series ends, if we finish out these fights and they end as is, I'm going to be like, wow, most of Class 1A felt like the main character class. But then I'm going to be like, I love Seto, but did Seto do anything this entire series? Did Sato do much of anything? What has Ojiro done? And I feel like that's kind of an issue. Even, again, these are characters I like. I really like Mina. I really don't think Mina's done very much. Hagakure, being on this cover here, has not done much of anything, as much as I like Hagakure. And just the concept of the Invisible Girl when I was first getting into the series, I thought was so cool all those years ago. So yeah, I don't know. Long intro. Sorry for the long intro. Let's actually get into reading, though. I love Hero Academia, and where else am I going to talk about it except right here and now with you all? So yeah, either way, let's start reading. Damn, Horikoshi really, though, like, as much as I like am sort of pro fan service and into fan service and stuff, this really was a wild decision to just be like, yeah, I'm just going to go all in on like basically nude. Like, wow. What a decision. I'm like, that is a bit of a surprising decision, actually. But we're starting off. Is Shigaraki still in there? And then, really, that's your question? Tomoda Shigaraki, you mean? No one by that name exists. Not anymore. The two have achieved a perfect melding, but perhaps it's because All for One has been alive longer, that he's the one who's in charge. Oh? I don't know what you're scheming, but you won't get your ideal pie-in-the-sky ending here. Hang on. I'm not so sure about all that, says Mirio, interjecting. When I made a rude accusation a while ago, it was like he was suddenly possessed by someone else. He started raging and freaking out like a child. Nothing about that suggests that they've achieved a perfect melding. It's as if the harder we fought back, the more unstable he got. And then we see All for One upset by that, it seems. And we have Nana's vestige behind Izuku. And we see the heads of the family on the hand. Izuku? Oh, and is that her son looks up at her? He's still in there. And then, geez, we have this massive spread. Whoa, enough idle chit-chat. I'll be taking back One for All now. Smash. Jeez. Know this, All for One. I won't let you have your ideal ending either. Alright? I stored up the third's Fa-Jin energy within the fifth's Black Whip for a boosted binding combo, and he creates a chain with Black Whip. Black Chain! And he's able to sling him around by it. Enhanced or not, the same trick won't work twice, and then it breaks, and we see the second. You're done once you use this. Take him down within 5 minutes, or else the world loses this war. And that's the second, right? I'm ready to settle this. And we still haven't learned about, like, the second's past. But it's, like, really deeply connected to the first and to, All for One. The second's transmission. Oh? And then, is he making hand signs? What the heck? Gear secondo. What? Gear third. And then top gear. Jeez. And he knocks him up into the sky. The sounds are delayed, says Mirio. And we have blood coming from All for One Shigaraki's mouth. What's he doing to me? Where'd he go? This is nothing like that glowing energy from before. He's far too fast. Almost as if... No, it's a different beast than it was back in my day, All for One. The meta ability that changes a target's speed when touched. Gear shift. Oh? That's so interesting. Changes speed when touched. That's like... In theory, could be OP, because couldn't you just touch a person and be like, speed change to 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then just send them flying? Gear shift, overdrive. As Izuku Midoriya would put it, this is 120 out of 100%. Brother, let today be the day that we end this. Detroit Smash! This is incredibly cool. How do we continue on from here? Unless it's because Benjamin Button All for One shows up. This is insane. That's so cool. I really like that quirk. That's so cool. And that was seemingly a short chapter, I guess because of all the action. So really, 12 minutes, that long intro didn't even matter when it took me like 3 or 4 to read. Yeah, insanity. That was incredibly cool. This fight's so cool. But again, talked a lot at the beginning. I don't want to talk too much quite yet until we move on, since we have 2 more chapters to read. But wow, I like that quirk. I like the second. I want more flashbacks. Give me more flashbacks. I want more family drama. The Todoroki family drama is some of the best writing in Hero Academia. So give me some Shigaraki family drama, you know? But yeah, either way, let's go ahead and move on. And oh baby, as soon as I click over to the next chapter, would you look at what we have here? We have black outlines. We're getting a flashback. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I want to know. This is 369, a chain of events across the ages. Strange. And is this the second it looks like? And then All for One's crying. How can this be? Your meta ability. Oh? And a weapon's coming in from behind. Was only meant to work on small objects, never more than a lackluster pea shooter. It'd be laughable to describe your actions as any sort of meaningful resistance. Such was your insignificance. So is he crying because this was like a friend of his, maybe? Or like an ally? You unruly insect. That's all you were meant to be. How? How is it I can see them now? And then it looks like he's seeing the vestiges. Quirk Gear Shift. Much like the other's meta abilities, Gear Shift's strength grew alongside One for All's. Its scope broadened, allowing it to apply to more diverse targets and function right down to the cellular level. Then there's the pure and simple might built up within One for All, a fist imbued with these 2 overlapping powers. Detroit Smash can warp the very laws governing reality. Quintuple. Jeez. This is insanity. And then We have the smash, 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 like the 5 smashes, like on top of each other. A lighter blow than before. This time, it didn't have that glow he'd built up. Perhaps it's too fast to perceive, but based on the trajectory of that last hit, I can surmise the angle and timing of the next one, and know where. And then it looks like he just completely whiffs and misses. Low gear, because he can change his speed at will. Gear shift, adjust speed without abiding by the laws of inertia. Shouldn't you already know that? All for one. In that case, I'll. And then we have a poof of smoke. Pathetic. And of course, that's Izuku's smoke screen from above. And he's getting pulled up by Black Whip, it looks like. After adjusting my timing, I can use the 4th's danger sense to detect the threat, and the 6th smoke screen to obscure his vision. Then the 7th's float provides some instant height, and the 5th's Black Whip catches him unaware, so I can bind him and yank him towards me. Finally, that earlier quintuple attack gave me a refill of the 3rd's Fajin for another blast of overdrive, courtesy of the 2nd's gear shift. So he is really just melding all of the quirks together. Our meta abilities were never what you should have been wary of. Rather, you should fear the reason why someone chooses to use their gifts. True power resides within an individual's intent. This is why. This time, I'm giving it everything I've got, says Izuku. You're gonna be the one to complete One for All. And we have, back to what Lariat said, all for one. You don't get. And we see Mirio holding Nejire. Is that... Geez, is that just... Tamaki? Who is that? Is that somebody else with him? I can't tell. Is that Recovery Girl? Who is that? It looks like somebody very small standing by him, unless I'm just seeing this wrong. And then we have Edshot and Bakugo. Yeah, sorry if I'm being stupid, but that looks like Sun Eater on the ground, and I can't tell who that is standing over him. It might be Recovery Girl. Silence, you insects, you maggots. Or if Recovery Girl has been shown somewhere else, sorry, it's just been so long since we've seen her that I don't remember. I'm just trying to go off like the hair thingies there. But yeah, I'm not sure. And then, to hurt anyone else, people call them quirks. And we have him slamming and bursting the body apart. We're resonating. One for all, with all for one, and all for one with one for all. I can see my brother, the young man with the bean eyes, was correct. The course of this battle, the chain of events leading to this moment, has shaken the balance of their supposed melding. Here comes your moment, boy. Don't forget what Shimura said. You can't take it easy just yet. Giving everything you've got, you say, and that business about quirks. Surely you jest. I haven't used a single quirk yet. I've yet to brandish the true value of this body. That is true. Like, he could have just a bunch of OP stuff and he hasn't used any of it. They're to blame. Wretched, unsightly eraser head and his merry brats. And this tomb of theirs, their sneaky ramshackle ploy to divide us. A whole sequence of events that led to this moment. And we see the sparks within, like what we see with One for All. Another trick up his sleeve? No, not yet. Indeed, Yoichi, the entire chain of events up to now will inevitably spell out victory or defeat for all. Not yet. Victory is still within my grasp. And we see Spinner. Interesting, why Spinner? And Spinner looks odd too. Again, I can't remember if anything happened with him to make him like this. Interesting. Okay, we gotta move on. One more for this week, though. What a great chapter. What a great set of 2 chapters. I feel like Horikoshi's been cooking recently, at least recently from like what I've been reading here. I've been enjoying this stuff. It's kind of, you can say it's a bit all over the place. In hindsight, I don't know how I will feel about it as much, because it really is just super OP, pile a bunch of powers onto this one person, super OP, pile a bunch of powers onto this other person. and then just throw them at each other. It does run into the issue of Izuku becoming anime god, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, and we've kind of always known that it would get there eventually. So I don't know. I don't think it's bad. I enjoy it a ton right now. Again, in the future, when I'm not blinded by recency bias, my opinions could change and be less favorable. But at least for right now, I'm really, really enjoying this. I think it's a fun read. But yeah, either way, let's go ahead and read the last one here. I am legitimately really glad, though, that we're getting spinner stuff. I mentioned before at the very beginning of the video, characters like, there are so many characters, and they don't always all get to do as much as I feel like they should, get as much development as they think as I think they should, and I've loved Spinner since he was first introduced, so to actually get some Spinner development, to get some Spinner content, would be very nice to me. So either way, let's get to reading, and we're getting 370 History. We see Die Monster. Stay inside the house, you heteromorph freak. So you brought dirty blood here. You tricked us. The land will become filthy, defiled. Go, get out. No matter how much society progresses, we'll never accept you and your kind. And then we're cutting to Spinner back in the present time. Turning back the clock a bit, to just after the battlefields received words of Dabi's defeat, in front of Central Hospital. They locked up Kurogiri, but were taking him back. Kurogiri, the closest thing to a masterpiece out of all the high-ends within the bioengineered Nomu series. And we have Spinner's heteromorph squad. All for one learned that that very entity was held within this hospital, and sent Spinner, lieutenant in the Paranormal Liberation Front, to lead a small army of the PLF dregs. And that's another thing that I feel like is, like, as much as I love Hero Academia, there have been, like, dropped balls and misses here and there. I feel like the side characters so many being introduced but not being developed enough, just developing them the tiniest bit but not, like, dedicating to it is an issue. And I feel like we got all of the, like, sub-commanders under the lieutenants in that one panel, and I was so excited for them. And I was like, okay, introducing all of these sub-commanders, because we see the one girl with Spinner here. I was so excited for it, because I'm like, it's brilliant for the Paranormal Liberation War. We're getting introduced to these sub-commanders of the lieutenants. For the minor characters, like not your Izukus, your Shotos, your Bakugos, but for the minor classmates, they could be fights for characters like Seto or Mineta or Mina. But then we just didn't even really get names for any of them. So that was really, really a disappointment. So yeah, a small army of the PLF dregs as well as ordinary citizens who sympathize with their cause. In total, a force of about 15,000, that's insanity, was dispatched. Move it, go, go, make way, surround them, hold the line, clear a path. There to fight back were some of the remaining heroes and police squads. And we have Rocklock and Present Mike in there. Only about 200 strong. Who knew you were such a popular guy, Shirakumo? Loud out, shout. And then a meat shield. And we have people coming at him, but he gets pulled out of the way by crows. Are you okay, Sensei? Thanks, Anima. Okay, we got Koda doing stuff again. Cool. This is great. See, we get these minor characters doing stuff. This is what I want. We got split up in the chaos. Squad leader, there are too many of them. We need backup. Well, we ain't getting any. Push back with those taser shields. Crap, it's bad enough. We're so short-handed now they're purposefully splitting us up and isolating us. And I don't want anything bad to happen to Rocklock. He has a baby. These punks are way too organized for a random mob of rioters. Shut up, you. Tie him up. We ain't rioters. And I like how they all look like Stain here. Get his hands. You people are always like this. Folks with human faces just don't get it. And then trample him, move it, make way. And we have him getting to Koda and trampling over to him as well. Don't mess with us. Stand aside. Stop this. Why are you doing this? Please stop. Raised in a big city, were ya? You traitor to your kind. Jeez. Getting deep into this stuff, too. That's crazy. Like I was going to say, kind of interesting to use like one of the only black guys use Rocklock for the racist against heteromorph like metaphors here. But then as well, calling Koda a race traitor. Damn. But it is interesting because it just feels like, to me, we had Spinner talk about it, and we had like a very small Spinner flashback that I'm not even sure if they even put in the anime because the anime was such a disaster in season 5. That it's like, I don't know. I feel like we didn't develop this enough. I feel like really for 99.999999999% of the series, we just saw people like Koda or like Mina, who's pink, or like Shoji. We just saw heteromorphs walking around, and like we didn't see any discrimination. We didn't see any of it being abnormal. Like this, like we didn't really spend a lot of time on that world building. We didn't really, weave that in throughout the story. For the most part, people just didn't care that Tokoyami looked like a bird. So bringing this in, it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense for their motivations. It makes sense that the world would be this way. But though you can justify it and say it makes sense that the world would be this way, we didn't really see the world being this way for the most part at all. But we have been in the big city setting. And we have help our rep, we're stronger than them, get through, and then rage, good citizens. Is that trumpet? Today is your Independence Day. Quirk counseling, quirk education, nothing but phony nonsense, all of it. We know this all too well because of the forms we bear. He isn't a heteromorph, though. And then the 6-6 incident, the Great Jeddah Purge, the history of the paranormal is one of persecution and oppression for those who don't fit the mold. And again, it would kind of be great if we had things like that. You're saying this, Horikoshi slacked on the world building. I don't know what the fuck the 6-6 incident is. The Great Who Purge? I don't know. So again, while it makes sense that society would be messed up, we never got any of this development beforehand. And what excuse was offered by those who joined in the slaughter of our kind? They gave me the creeps, they'd say, sweeping it all under the rug. And then, these days, society's reflected and made amends, and we see animal people at the top of society, or so they would have you believe. Sure, in dense cities, the populace is raised in a diverse melting pot, where, through the wonders of education, discrimination is a thing of the past. But take a look beyond the cities. What do they still say there? And he pulls off this hood. You give me the creeps. And I don't know who you are, sir. Not even the brightest light can illuminate every corner of society. That light never shone upon those of us here today. We must find our own light in this world. I thought it was Trumpet, using his quirk. I guess Trumpet got captured, though, at the end of the Paranormal Liberation War. So yeah, never mind, because the PLF guys got captured, mostly, except for Skeptic. Well, no, I don't remember. I don't remember if Skeptic got captured or not. I don't think he did. I think he was still working with Dobby as recently as a couple chapters ago. If only I weren't born looking like this with this quirk. Have you people ever thought that even once? Move it, clear a path. Okay, Rocklock's okay in this next panel. Okay. Let him through. No, you people are no heroes of ours. And we have the Spinner Speaks for a sign. Again, I would love this. I think this art's really cool. I love the heteromorphic designs. I really like Spinner. But I'm just I've never met this person. This spider guy. I've never met him. Not that I recall. And not only have I never met him, again, it'd be great if we had some of this discrimination and racism slowly built up throughout the course of the series, like we did with so many other things. But we really have not. We it'd be one thing if there was even a small reference to the 6-6 incident in one of the history classes or something, or somebody's oh, we can't do that, because of the 6-6 incident. But then you bring it up here as this big motivation thing, and it's we don't know what that is unless it was something in a spin-off. It's like we don't know what that is. So yeah, I don't know. As much as I, again, love Hero Academia, as much as I love Spinner, as much as I'm all for him getting a moment, at the same time, I'm just like, this hasn't been written very well. Or is it just me? Tell me in the comments, am I just crazy? Or is this, like, not actually been written very well? Instead, it will be him. Win this, get our rep through, who leads us to prominence in society. And then, don't know what he's saying. Ever since All for One gave me power, head getting fuzzier, so we can't think as much. Go on, rep. Whatever. Me just take back Kurogiri. Do what me told. Octo, blow! And freaking Shoji. I love Shoji. Shoji's like one of my favorites. A sleeper hit. Octo, blow. Spinner, a rep. How freaking dare you? Kill the traitor, crush the wannabe hero. Die, monster. What's any of that got to do with attacking the hospital? And then, back in Jaku, the first thing the heroes did was take action to make sure the patients and staff were safe. But, what about you guys? Go on, tell me. Do you have a plan here? No matter how much society progresses, we'll never accept you and your kind. And it was actually a Shoji flashback. And he knocks all of them away from him. You'd better. Because if not, I won't let this stand. And it's cool again to have the heteromorph be the one to fight against them. But again, weird stuff going on. Being like, okay, you were heteromorphs, you were discriminated against, but you're actually like, you're standing up for yourselves, but you're doing it in a wrong way, in a bad way, in a way that's reasonable, in a way that's also like, I don't know about this. Again, I just think that if this subject was more well thought out, if it was more well written, if we had the build up, if I knew what the 6-6 incident was, I feel as though my opinions would be different. I love Shoji. I'm here for Shoji getting a moment. I love Spinner. Here for Spinner getting a moment. I think the head getting fuzzier stuff could develop into more future development for him if they're able to fix him. And maybe it's like trading in your humanity for bestial rage. But like, I feel like they could do better with Spinner, and I feel like it'd be cool to see in the future. Same, I'm interested in how the Shoji stuff is going to pan out. But it's just like so out of nowhere in a way, where we have focused so very, very little and seen basically no discrimination, except for the fact that, like, I feel like the only time it was even really brought up, like I mentioned, was that flashback where Spinner was like, yeah, it's really hard to get a normal job and stuff when you're a heteromorph, and that's basically it. Other than that, like, we have never seen anybody treating heteromorphs badly at all. They've just been treated as very normal. Nobody's even brought it up as like weird even. So I don't know. It's very weird to be like, whoa, this is such a huge thing and a big part of these motivations, when it's like, we're 370 chapters in. We have not seen this stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I love the characters. I love the series, but I don't know how I'm feeling about this yet. Again, it's like what I said about really enjoying the All for One and Izuku stuff, where I'm like, oh man, I'm really enjoying this, but give me a little bit of hindsight, drip a little bit of that hindsight into my veins, and I might be like, you know, I may have been blinded by the recency bias. So this, you know, maybe I reread the series some more. Maybe I reread with a real magnifying glass, see if I can find where this stuff was mentioned in the past. And like, maybe I reread and it changes my opinion on this. Or maybe we get a few more chapters in and this stuff is developed really, really well, and I'm like, I can forgive it. I think it's nice. But like, again, give me the power of that 2020 hindsight. Then it's like, okay, you know, maybe my opinions can change a little. As for right now, though, as for like this first step, this first impression, I love it. The art's great, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense much. And I mean, I guess it does make sense. That's not really like it makes sense that they'd be discriminated against, and it makes sense that that would play into some people's sort of motivations. It doesn't make sense how big and prevalent and important it's being presented as in this chapter compared to how non-existent it has been before this chapter. Yeah, odd. Love shoji though. But either way, I'm gonna end this here. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's one of those things too, when you're playing with racism allegories, I'm generally like, hey, fiction's fiction. You can base it on things in real life, but at the end of the day, if it's not handled super duper like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Super, I don't know, well, sensitively, you're bound to not always hit home runs. So I'm like, look at the fiction for what the fiction is. It's not real life. But at the same time, maybe when you go into like, racism allegories and stuff, maybe you like, I don't know, got to put a lot more thought into it. I don't know. But like when it's not well thought out, it's kind of like, I don't know, really easy to look at real life and be like, but what are they saying? So yeah, I don't know. Either way though, like if you did like the video, lots of discussion in this one. Like if you did like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of these chapters, what you thought of my thoughts. Maybe I'm a big stupid idiot. Maybe Izuku versus All for One sucks and I'm just a big Horikoshi dick rider. Maybe this spinner stuff changed your life in its brilliant representation, and I'm like, I missed the My Heteromorph Academia section. I missed that arc. Like maybe I'm just a big stupid. That's very, very possible. Either way, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it is free and open for anyone, so you can just ask and I'll give you a link. I always love talking with you all wherever. If you want to help support the channel, Okane Ganayo, you could just leave a super thanks down below. It'd be appreciated. Or even better if you want to, because you get something more out of it, if you want One Piece a few days early. And if you would like to get a shout out at the end of every single video, become a patron or channel member. It's patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description. Or you could just hit join down below, become a member. Either way, thank you to people who are patrons and channel members. Here's that aforementioned shout out. Thank you to Chosen Regular, Evan Hawley. Thank you to Magical Girls, FR Nono, Huarian, and Smeller Dog. Thank you to Cherryton student David Langstaff. And thank you to Slayer candidate SG. Thank you so much. And thank you all for watching this video. I'm recording at like 1 a.m. Felt kind of unhinged. Thanks for watching. See you all next time.